Today, we'll have Amy's big group trip to Disneyland with some very special experiences. That's coming up on this episode 497 of WDW Prep to Go. Hello and welcome to WDW Prep to Go, where we talk strategy and ideas and have lots and lots of trip reports for people planning their Disney World trips. I am your host, Shannon Albert from WDWPrepSchool.com. Thank you for joining for episode 497. Today is a very special trip report. Amy not only went to Disneyland with a big group, but it was to celebrate a milestone birthday and to do it in the best way possible with so many special experiences. So I am looking forward to you listening to my conversations with her. Before we do that, as always, a reminder to follow on social media. I've been posting a whole lot of stuff on all the platforms. Let's see, that includes Facebook and Instagram and Threads and YouTube and TikTok. And also we have a weekly email list that goes out on Wednesdays. So many things. So make sure that you are following or subscribe to all of those. If you are users of that media, would appreciate you joining there. I always feel like this is a one-way street, but if you can do things in different ways, or we can kind of talk to each other, DM, comment, etc. I always like that. Also, we are getting closer and closer to the 500th episode. So if you would like to submit a SpeakPipe message that includes things about the podcast, you know, how did you start listening? Who do you listen with? This kind of stuff. I would love to hear that so we can include some of those in the 500th episode. I think that's it for now. Here are my chats with Amy. Welcome to the podcast, Amy.
Thank you, Shannon. I'm excited to be here.
We're talking on Tuesday, January 6th, and I hear you're headed to California.
We are. Yes, we're leaving on Thursday, so in 2 days.
All right, so January 8th through what?
Through the 11th, so Sunday. It's a quick trip.
Okay. Have you ever been to Disneyland before?
Yes, we've been a few times. I think this may be my 5th or 6th trip to Disneyland.
Okay. And who's going on this trip?
It's a big group. It is myself and my husband, and then we have 10 friends going with us. It's an adults-only trip. So we have, there'll be 4 couples from our hometown, and then 2 friends from Dallas and a couple from the Chicago area.
Okay. What a fun idea.
Yes.
There is a moment in every trip report where I realize why it was chosen, and I already know because we haven't done a group trip like this before for Disneyland.
Oh, great. Well, I turned 50 a couple of months ago, so this is a group to celebrate my 50th birthday.
That's so fun. Okay. So you said that there's people from different cities, and are you guys all flying in on the 8th?
No, so the 8 of us from San Antonio are flying together on Thursday morning. We changed planes in Dallas, and one of my friends from Dallas is going to meet us at the airport. So 9 of us will all be arriving a little bit after lunch on Thursday. And then my friends from the Chicago area fly in that evening, and my last friend from Dallas comes in Friday morning.
Okay. So most people arrive with you as a group
Yes.
of 9, and then a couple others will come in. Which airport are you flying into?
We're flying into John Wayne, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah. It's just always fun to ask because there's options.
Yes. That's one of the good things about it. And yeah, this time we thought it'd be easier to not have to deal with LAX, especially on the afternoon, a weekday afternoon.
Yeah. And okay, so in your group, is this anyone's first time to Disneyland?
Yes. I know. I think it actually may be. I know that I've been with another of the couples. Yeah, most of them, I think it'll be their first time to Disneyland.
Okay. Feeling any pressure about that?
No. I feel like Disneyland's very easy to love. So we're excited.
It is easy to love, and it's not quite as complicated as Disney World. But as the planner, sometimes it can be like, I want you to love it. I want you to love it.
Yes. Well, and we'll be doing some things that we'll get to in the trip that have made the planning a lot easier.
Okay. I'm going to make a little mental guess what that is. Okay. So you fly in a little after lunch to John Wayne Airport. Most of you do. And then I am always obsessed with logistics. How are you getting 9 of you to your hotel?
We got a driver with a Sprinter van, so they will meet us at the airport. I think we land at 1:50. So we have arrangements for them to pick us up, and then we're going to make a stop at a Target. So if anybody needs breakfast stuff, sunscreen, etc., we'll make a quick trip, and then they'll take us to the hotel,
Which hotel?
the Grand Californian.
Okay. And is this lots of individual rooms? Is this villa?
No, we have 6 individual rooms. So there's 5 couples and then 2 women who are friends. They know each other, so they're going to share a room.
Okay. 6 individual rooms at the Grand Californian. All right. Then what?
Then that afternoon is kind of just let everybody settle in, relax. And then we have reservations at 6 p.m. at Centrico in downtown Disney.
Okay. All right. Nice. Okay. Anything else on this arrival day?
Yes, we also have a reservation at 8 for Trader Sam's. We were able to work with a concierge at Disney to get this reservation. I had actually been on a trip to LA with our daughter a couple of months ago for something else and tried to figure out some of the logistics. And Trader Sam's has changed to pretty much walk up only, is what I learned. But we were able to get somebody at Disney to help us make a reservation for this group. So we'll just go and get drinks, probably. Sorry.
No, you're okay. When we're recording over the internet like this, sometimes there's a easy way to jump in there. You said you had help getting it. Does that mean that you're staying club level?
No, the concierge for one of our events was able to help us get this reservation.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clarify where that help came from, and we'll get to it, I guess. Okay, so Trader Sam's is a really fun way to end, and having help with that reservation, I'm sure was good because it's a big group in a popular place. So that would be a really fantastic way to end that day. It's one of my favorite places in the world to just sit.
We haven't been either, so we're very excited.
Even outside, I know a lot of people went inside just because it's like where a lot of action is, but it's just, I don't know, California's so lovely.
Yes, it'll be great.
Great views. Okay, so Friday, January 9th?
Yes, so we are going to have a long day. So my husband and I are typically rope droppers and love to take a mid-afternoon break, but we have plans from about lunchtime to late night. So we probably are not going to rope drop. We are thinking kind of everyone is on their own until lunch, but I think we'll probably go to the parks, probably go to Disneyland maybe around 9 or 10 and spend a couple of hours there. We do not have the lightning lane, so I think it's just going to be kind of take it easy, check out the vibes. Yeah, get on what we can, but low key.
So you said you and your husband will go into the parks, but it's up to everybody else what they want to do with their time.
Yes. I think most people will, but we also, like our friends from Chicago don't get in until 10:30 that night, so we kind of wanted to let them, if they want to sleep in a little bit. We don't have anywhere they have to be until 11, so kind of leaving it up to everybody.
Okay. And where do you have to be at 11?
We have a reservation for lunch at Naples in downtown Disney. My husband and I ate there on another trip and just enjoyed it. Feels like a nice break. So close to the entrances to both parks, but it's just a nice place to kind of sit and regroup.
Okay. And what's after lunch?
So we have a VIP tour scheduled at 1 p.m. till 1 to 8.
And that was my guess.
Yes.
I was like, there's only a few ways to get the kind of help that you got. That makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also,
this is our first time.
I also understand why you're not nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, so our 2 of our best friends that are going with us, our combined family, we have 2 kids and they have 4 kids. So we have been on trips with all 10 of us. And I have learned that getting just even 10 people anywhere in any convenient amount of time can be difficult. So this was the way to go for this trip.
Yes, I don't blame you. And you have exactly the number of people to fit in a VIP tour.
Well, we were over by a little. So 10 is the max. So we'll have 2 guides. So we're had to double up.
Because in my notes, I wrote 10 friends, but that is 10 friends plus you and your husband.
Exactly.
So, yes. Okay. Well, That's very painful when you just go
Yeah.
over by a little bit. I've
It was,
been there, but it literally increases the cost by double. Okay.
oh yeah.
But there are perks to having 2 VIP tour guides because they can split up and do different things. So, like, if
Yeah,
one is taking you on a ride, another one could go be getting your lunch spaces reserved or whatever, and that's really nice too.
that's awesome. And we're excited. I feel like we've had some other Disney, we have never done a VIP tour, but we've had some other Disney experiences. And we've just always really loved getting to know the cast members that are helping us or working with us. So I'm excited to get to know two of them.
Mhm. Yeah, and VIP tours are much more worth it at Disneyland than Disney World.
Mm,
They just do more for you. Also, how long ago did you book this?
we started booking it not that long ago. I guess it was in September.
Okay. The VIP tour guides at Disney World, you can't book very far in advance, but at Disneyland you can. So
Ah,
it's
that makes
nice.
sense.
Nice, nice. But where do you meet at 1 o'clock in front of Disneyland?
We're meeting in California Adventure. It's set at the Commerce Building.
Okay.
So we have park hopper tickets. So we have reservations to start at Disneyland, and then the people that are not going, it's like just go tap in, and then we'll be able to hop over to California Adventure by the time the tour starts.
Uh-huh. That might confuse the first timers. Like, why am I tapping into this
Yes.
park?
Yes, my best friend has helped with a lot of the logistics, and she has written multiple emails trying to explain it, but we're still gonna have to walk some people through it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot to remember for people that are not into the planning. Okay, so eventually you'll all end up in California Adventure and you'll meet your
Yes.
2 guides.
Yes. Yes.
And what's on your to-do list?
We are going pretty attractions heavy. It was really nice because they asked us ahead of time, are you interested in character meetings or parades? And I think at the time of day we're going, it's right, we're from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. We really wanted to just focus on rides. And so we kind of made a list of things that were must do's, things that were like to do's, and things that we don't really have any interest in this. And so we're going to let them just schedule it out from there.
Okay. So you just gave him a list of rides for California Adventure and Disneyland,
Yes, correct.
and then you'll spend 7 hours doing that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to kind of hand over the reins and let them take us around and figure it out.
Mhm. All right. Anything else to mention during 1 to 8 before we move on to the later part of the day?
No, I think we've talked about for dinner. I think we'll probably just try to do some sort of quick serve. And again, my plan is to just wherever we are in the park, have them make recommendations and go from there. So, yeah, I'm typically very much one of the reasons I love listening to your podcast is that I am we're going to go here and here and here and have this reservation. And so this is a very different trip and kind of just handing it over, but also I'm excited about that.
Mhm. Yeah, that is fun. Okay, quick service dinner, VIP tour wrapping up at 8. Anything else to end the night?
Yes. So we have the option to extend the tour if we want for up to 3 more hours. But right now our plan is to go see World of Color. They were able to give us reserved viewing. It was booked through the VIP coordinator. So we have reserved viewing for World of Color at 9 p.m. And then we had also hoped to do Paint the Night, but Paint the Night is not running while we're there. So we will miss that this trip, but we will just pick it up some other time.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. But,
But you'll World of Well, I mean, something's always gonna be closed, like, no matter when you
yes.
go, but it's just that one's been gone for a while, so
Oh,
it's nice that it's back, but just not available for your trip dates. Okay,
yes. And
so
I've seen it once. So I'm like, this wasn't, but yeah, I was excited about maybe having reserved seats, but it gives
mhm,
us an excuse to go back.
yeah, and you'll have World of Color, which is obviously really nice too.
Yes.
So, okay, well, that'll be a really fun day, and you'll get to hit a lot of headliners all in one swoop. What does Saturday,
Yes.
January 10th look like?
So Saturday, kind of the same start plan. We're going to have a late night on Saturday night. And so we had kind of just said, once again, everybody's on your own until actually pretty much until the afternoon. So we told people everybody will have a park ticket. So you can go to the parks, you can sleep in, you can go to downtown Disney. I think my husband and I will probably sleep in a little bit and maybe go to, I think, probably California Adventure around 9 or 10 for a few hours. We are gearing up for a big dinner that night.
Okay. So you said open time in the morning for everyone until afternoon. So let's start with what everyone needs to be together for in the afternoon.
Okay. We are going to have dinner at 21 Royal, which is over parts of the Caribbean, and we need to be ready to go for dinner at 5 p.m.
Okay. Oh, so everyone's free until 5.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been there?
No. This is a bucket list thing for us.
I know. Me either. So I'm excited to hear about it from you.
Yeah, I
So,
think one of our trips, I don't know, it was probably several years ago. We saw the sign and kind of had that, it's kind of like seeing the Club 33 sign where you're like, what's that? And looked it up and thought, that's amazing. Not sure that that will ever be something we'll be able to do, but the opportunity has come up this year. And so we're doing it. And so that's also why we have 12 people, because that's the maximum number of guests for the dinner.
yes. But I'm jealous as first timers, they won't know how.
I know. Yeah, we've been trying to kind of I think pretty much everybody's been to Disney World, and there's this weird balance with 21 Royal of wanting people to get excited, but also, and I've had to do this myself, of not looking up too much to spoil any surprises. So we have tried to kind of hype everybody up for it without sharing too much information, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I get it. You want them to understand that it's special without spoiling it.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a fun dinner. After dinner?
We'll be able to see Phantasmic from 21 Royal. And then our plan after dinner, so dinner should be done by 10 p.m. and Disneyland will be in Disneyland and it's open until 11. So we're going to all be dressed up, but we're planning on taking sneakers to change out of our dress shoes and spend that last hour just in the parks doing whatever we can do in our fancy clothes.
It'll be like your own Dapper Days.
It will be, exactly.
And it makes fun pictures.
Yes, we're excited.
If you're dressed up too. Okay, well
Yes.
that's amazing.
It's going to be really fun. Yes.
Yeah. And then Sunday, January 11th is departure. Is there anything else besides departure?
The only thing we're doing is, so we have a reservation at 8:30 for Goofy's Kitchen. So we're going from 21 Royal to the fun of Goofy's. We did an Adventures by Disney trip about a year and a half ago to the Southern California, and that was not a place that had ever been on our radar, and we had the best time at that breakfast. So we're going to finish off the weekend with breakfast with Goofy.
Okay. That is fun. And when I did the SoCal ABD, it ended at Goofy's Kitchen, and I was so exhausted that I skipped it.
Oh,
Stayed in the hotel room because I was like, "Oh my god, we've been walking for days," and it's lingered in my head as like, I wish I could have gone.
Oh, I know, but I know that exhaustion. Like, yeah, I think we were having so much fun with our guides that we just were like, at this point, it's like, we'll just go and we'll push through. And it was also summer, so we weren't having to go back to work or anything the next day.
Okay, so 8:30 Goofy's Kitchen.
Yes. And then after that is departure flights for everybody. So one of my friends has to leave a little early and I'll miss it. But most of us, the 8 of us from San Antonio, all fly out at 1. So I'm guessing we'll leave for the airport, I don't know, 11, 10:30. We'll kind of play it by ear. And then our plan for getting back is just Ubers. Well, shouldn't be a problem on a Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what a fun trip.
Yeah.
A great way to celebrate a birthday.
Yes, very much.
Yes, I love it. Okay. We'll have the best trip and birthday, and I'll talk to you when you get back.
Sounds great. Thanks, Shannon.
Welcome back from your trip, Amy.
Thanks, Shannon. Excited to be here.
You and I are talking on Tuesday, January 13th, just a week after we first spoke, I think.
Yes.
Short trip, so we were able to meet pretty close together. How was it?
It was amazing. It was really magical in every definition of the word.
Okay. I'm excited to hear about it. Let's start talking through Thursday, January 8th, where you were arriving a little bit after lunch.
Yes, so we flew first of all to Dallas. We landed on time, and there were eight of us flying to Dallas.
Mhm.
And one of my friends from Dallas met us there she was there standing at the gate when we got there, which was really fun I had not seen her in a few years. And then she got to meet at least the San Antonio part of our cruise. So that was really exciting.
Mhm.
Then we all took off on our flight to Orange County, had a short 20-minute delay, nothing big. And then we landed at the John Wayne Airport and we had a van waiting to pick us up.
A rental Sprinter van.
Yes. Yes, with a driver my friend Sarah had arranged it just a couple of days before. They were great. Disney music playing on the speakers to get us in the mood as soon as we landed.
hmm And it was making a stop for you guys to get some like groceries and stuff, I think.
Yes, so we stopped at a Target just to grab some breakfast items, snacks, a couple of things that people had forgotten to pack that they remembered as we were in the air and quick trip. And then we were on our way to the hotel.
You were on your way to the Grand Californian, right?
Yes, yes. So we got to the Great Californian. We were super excited when we started walking up because they still had their Christmas decorations out, which we were not at all expecting. So that was a nice surprise. Then we got in line for the check-in and started checking in, and then we had somebody from VIP services come and meet us, which we were not expecting, but she came and walked us up to our room. And they had managed to put all six of our rooms right together. So we were all on the same hall, just lined right up. And then they had given us access to the concierge lounge, which we really only used for coffee, but that was a really nice surprise as well.
Mm-hmm. Wonder why did they do that? Because you weren't staying club level or concierge.
No, I I think so. They also gave us a folder that had our itinerary for the week, or for the weekend, and it included a card from guest services, and we think it's related to the 21 Royal booking
Oh, okay.
as best we can. Yeah, they had some, treats in the room and things, and that's kind of, yeah, it felt like it was affiliated with that.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, surely it's not connected to the VIP tour, which is not this day. But yeah,
Yes.
21 Royal makes sense. Okay, and your rooms were ready, so that was nice that you were able to get right in.
Yes, they were. Yeah, it was probably, I think we were there right around 3:30, 3:15. So yeah, but it was nice. Everybody's room was ready. It was seamless.
And you had a little bit of free time until your dinner reservation. So how did you spend the next few hours?
Really just kind of settling into the room, resting, taking a shower from being on the plane. And then we all met up in the lobby at 5. My husband and I were talking about it'd be nice to kind of just kind of give everybody a lay of the land for the people, especially the people that hadn't been there. And I think most everybody had been to Disney World, but only a few of them had been to Disneyland. And since we weren't necessarily all going to the parks at the same time, we just wanted to show everybody how easy it was to like walk out. Here's
hmm
downtown Disney, here's Disneyland, here's California Adventure,
hmm
and just kind of show it off a little bit.
I have to admit that going to Disneyland with Disney World people, if it's their first time, is one of my favorite things in the world because it's just so fun to be like, look how close everything is, or look how this ride is different, or whatever it is. So you get to be that for some people in your group.
hmm Exactly. Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff, it's just so fun. Once you've done it once and you've taken
hmm
your kids to do it, it's like just always seeing things through a first timer's eyes is always really fun.
It is. If you've done it, yeah, that's the next best thing to being able to do it yourself. It's like, oh, I'm going to watch you do it for the first time. So you were showing them the lay of the land, and then eventually you made it to dinner at Centricos, I assume.
Yes, and we got there a little bit early, which worked out nice. They had a little bit of a mix up with our reservation. It was fine, but my friend Sarah had called when reservations opened and she couldn't book a table for 9, so she put 2 reservations for 5 and for 4. And it was a little bit earlier in the day than we wanted. And I think I'd mentioned, but I was in Anaheim a couple of months ago for a different trip. And my daughter and I went by there, and I thought, well, I'm here. I'll just check in with the host and see. And they said, they're like, they found the reservations. They're like, we'll go ahead and merge them. We'll put it to 6 p.m. No problem. But then I guess they did it in one system and not the others. So when we got there, they still had our original reservations for 4:30, which we'd obviously missed. So while we were trying to figure it out, my husband went over to, I think it's Paseo that's right across, and they had a table for 9, but then Centrico said they could put us at a fire pit, and it was chilly. So we're like, we'll take the fire pit. So it actually worked out. It was one of those happy accidents. So it actually worked out better than we planned it.
Mm-hmm. And how was your dinner?
It was fine. Like, it was good. The drinks were really good. Guacamole chips were great. I'd say the entrees, they were good. They were fine. The food, we were happy with it though. It was really, really, I think we were just enjoying sitting around the fire with our drinks and catching up. And the food came out very quickly. Everything was very relaxed. I think we were actually done eating by 6:30. And then our reservation at Trader Sam's wasn't until 8. So we just went ahead and hung out in for another 30 minutes. And then we thought, we'll just go ahead and walk over to Trader Sam's and see if they can get us in a little early.
Okay. And did they?
Yes. So we got there, and of course, I mean, we were taking our time. We probably got there about 7:10, 7:15, and they said they could seat us in 25, 30 minutes, which is great. And so we walked around the grounds of the Disneyland Hotel and showed everybody the cute slide and the gift shops, and then where Goofy's Kitchen was, where we were going to have breakfast in a couple of days, did a little shopping, and then got the text that they were ready for us.
And were they ready for you inside or outside?
We were on the patio, which I think, I had seen the inside, knowing how small it was. I did not think we would be inside, but they had heaters and live music, and it was great. We were thrilled with where they put us.
If you had been inside, you would have been the whole inside
Yes,
with your group.
exactly. Yes, I had gone and peeked on that trip before just to see, and so we would have been split up, and it was much better to be out on the patio.
Yes. And what did you get there? How did you find your time?
We ordered some fun drinks. I think we all got had a good laugh because they have a drink it's like a tiki rum, but you need to say tiki 5 times, which the hostess was, or the host was, she was really funny about. We all had a good time with that. Some people
5 times. Tiki, 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 tiki. Okay, I'm like,
Yes.
do I need to practice before the next time I go there? Tiki, tiki.
I think the fourth one of us that was ordered it finally got it right.
Okay.
And then they don't have it on the menu, but they have Dole Whip. So a couple of people just got Dole Whip. And then mostly were talking, but several of us are big college football fans. And it was the Miami and Ole Miss game was playing. And so we had our phones not watching it, but like on ESPN, just kind of keeping track of how the game was going. But it was just a really relaxing ease into the trip, enjoying time together. Night.
Good. Sounds perfect. Let's talk
Yes.
about the next day. Go ahead.
Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is one of our friends is going on a Disney cruise in February, and that night was her check-in time too. So she was checking in for her cruise, but she was able to get, I guess, the 11:45 check-in time. So she was really excited about that. But yeah, it was an early night. We were back at the hotel by 9.
But the nice thing about her check-in is she was working on Eastern time and you guys are Western. So what, midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not too late. That makes it easier. And she did get a good boarding time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the end of that night. And the next day was Friday, January 9th. And you told us the morning was kind of be open until around 11 o'clock. So what did you do?
As usual, I had FOMO. I had a couple of friends that were planning on rope dropping, and I couldn't resist not going ahead and getting up early and going with them. And then also, we woke up. I mean, we woke up at 5. It was just with the
Hmm.
time change, was up early. So I made myself stay in bed, and then I say we rope dropped. I still felt like we took it pretty easy. So myself and my husband, another couple, and then one of our friends, we met in the lobby at 7:30, walked into Disneyland. We were through the gates by 7:45. And again, we didn't have a real strenuous plan, but we thought, what are the things that everybody's really trying to go for? And we decided to take an easier route and to head for Big Thunder Mountain first. So
Hmm.
yeah, so rope drop was at 8 a.m. There were a lot of people going through that Adventureland gate, but most of them seemed to be going to Rise of the Resistance. So we got to Big Thunder at 8:02, and it was basically a walk on.
Hmm. And did you get to stay on and say again, again?
No, it was starting to, well, we kind of had a plan. So we did that, and then we wanted to go do, I think I mentioned, but the Haunted Mansion, still had the holiday overlay. We wanted to make sure we did that. So we went straight to Haunted Mansion, again, a walk on right away. And so that was, yeah, I love that overlay. So that was really fun to see that.
So that is one of the things I was thinking of when I was thinking about Disney World people going to Disneyland for the first time. Is that right? Because holy moly, it's hard to imagine it.
Hmm. And we were super excited too because when we were planning this trip, they were saying that Haunted Mansion, they were going to be removing it while we
Hmm.
were there. But then we realized probably a week before that it was still going to be up. So we were very excited about that.
So Big Thunder Haunted Mansion.
Yes. And then we went to Pirates. The Haunted Mansion was briefly stuck, but it was fun because it was like we were right in front of the Leota part. So that was a good place to get stuck. But we were still off by 8:30 and then went to Pirates. We were there by 8:35 and again a walk on, just got right on with no issue.
Hmm. So I'm wondering if these crowd trends are going to continue. We'll see.
We'll see.
It might be that you were just up early on a random off Friday.
Well, yeah, I think that, and then also, we weren't trying to do Space Mountain. We didn't do Rise. We were which was sort of as we were talking about it that morning, we thought if we go to something less, or Peter Pan, that's always one of the big ones in California. So we knew we would hit some of those things later in the day. So we thought we'll just, low key approach to rope drop.
Hmm. So did you continue with the rides until you had to head to lunch?
Yeah, so another couple came. We weren't going at the same pace because people were starting to come into the parks. So another set of friends came. We went on It's a Small World, which also was completely decorated for Christmas. And I had never seen, have you seen that one at
Hmm.
Christmas?
Hmm.
Yeah. We were really blown away. And also, there were different songs playing, which I've never heard on It's a Small World. So
Hmm.
that was fun. And then the four more people came in and we did Jungle Cruise. And then we were able to do that and Snow White before it was time to head for lunch.
Yeah, for an open morning, you really got a lot done.
Yeah.
You did.
I talk a big game about sleeping in and taking it easy, but park mode kicks in.
Yes, but the time zones do contribute. So it's really hard to sleep past whatever time your normal time is. And then in
Mhm.
California, it's 5 a.m.
Exactly.
Yeah. So by the time you actually rolled out of bed, you probably felt like you had slept in.
Yeah, we were fine.
You were fine. Okay. So you headed to Naples.
Yes, we got out. My last friend that was coming in, was arriving that morning, and we headed to Naples. Got there a few minutes before 11, and she was walking out of the Grand Californian right then. So the timing was perfect. And then everybody, I don't know if I'd mentioned this, but we had invited people. We decided to take sort of an eras approach to this group. So we invited people from different seasons of life, like people that had really meant something in different parts of our, even like before marriage, after marriage, and there's some overlap. So some people knew each other. We also though were looking for people that we knew would have a really good time and people that we thought would really enjoy the group. So it was really fun to, especially then at lunch, to start seeing some of the people that hadn't met interacting and laughing and having fun. So that was kind of our first meal with the whole group together.
That is such a cute idea. I love that so much. You can really do the eras of anything.
Yeah, exactly. She's brilliant.
Yes. Yeah. I hope she continues doing it too.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So lunch was good.
Lunch was great. We probably ordered, we ordered 4 of their large pizzas just to split. And so they just put them all out. It was really leisurely. I think that Naples is one of our favorite places to eat at Disneyland, just because you're right outside of the entrances to both parks, but it's just a very calm environment. So it's a nice little bit of a break, but then you're only a 5-minute walk to go back in. So it was pretty quick. I feel like we were done eating a little bit afternoon, and that was with a leisurely lunch. And so some people ran to get stuff from their rooms or put jackets away. Some people went to Starbucks, but everybody was ready to enter California Adventure a little bit before 1.
And that was to meet your VIP tour guides.
Yes. Yes. And then something else I should mention here is we'd had a change from our original plan. In the 2 days that I talked to you before we left, I had been a friend of mine from our church. She's younger than us. She had texted me and asked me if I could help her with something that Sunday. And I told her, I'm going to be coming back from Disneyland. And I mentioned a couple of our other friends who I thought might be the next ones in line for her to ask. I was like, they're also going with us. And she's like, man, that sounds so fun. I'd love to come with y'all sometime. And I mentioned it to my husband, and he's like, why don't you just ask her if she wants to come? Because we've got space on that tour. So we said, we'll get you a room, however many people you can cram into that room. We've got space on the tour. So she and I'm going to say girls because they're like 20 years younger than me. They're really young women. They came, and so were going hard at the parks that morning, but then they ended up they came and joined us for our tour. So we had 17 for our
17. But you know what?
Yes.
You might as well fill the spots. You might as well. So they last minute decided to go and get like the flights and the hotel and the park tickets?
Yes. So yeah, we got their hotel, and so they flew out Thursday. They all have jobs where they were fairly flexible or could take a day off. Like one's a teacher, she never takes a day off, and she was able to get a sub, worked out great. So they left on Thursday, went real hard all day they left on Thursday, went hard on Friday, and then they went back on Saturday. So.
Oh my gosh. The spontaneity.
Yes.
That is so fun though. Okay, so group of 17 with the 2 guides is now at California Adventure.
Yes, so we met our guides, Taylor and Jordan. They were awesome. We had the best day with both of them. So we met up with them. It was right inside the gates of California Adventure, and kind of talked through there, like, what are the top priorities for the day? What are, just sort of getting an overview, and they chatted for a second. So basically they're like, we're just going to go clockwise around California Adventure, and which, is so great. So we started, yes. So we started out, we originally were going to start with Guardians of the Galaxy, but then we remembered that Monsters is closing. So we're like, let's just go do one last ride on Monsters. So we started out there. I think I did not do a good job of keeping track of wait times, but I think it was a 60-minute standby wait, which I have never seen it that high, but it also is going away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people really like rides when they're about to go away.
Yes. Yes. So we rode Monsters, and that one's a little bit nostalgic for us because our kids loved it when they were little. Our daughter was Screamer of the Day one year. I don't if you're familiar with that.
Mhm.
So that one, and then again, all the Disney World people had never been on that one, so we started off with a unique to Disneyland ride or unique to California adventure.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's a cute one too.
That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's cute.
it's
Like if
it's
for
cute.
Monsters Inc., of course Disney World's getting a whole land now, but I thought it was cute for Monsters Inc. representation.
Yes.
But I wonder how many VIP tours end up at that ride. But to be fair, when I did a VIP tour there last time, we rode the train first because it had just reopened. And I was like, I know we're the only ones to say, let's go to the train first.
Hey, that's what they're there for, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. So next was Guardians of the Galaxy, which is their version of Tower of Terror. We had a few people opt out, so one of the guides took them to, I think, just to some shops while we rode it. But that one, I think we had a few people too that probably wouldn't normally have ridden it go for it. I think once they realized we're like, it's a little different, it's more, I
Mhm.
was like, it's bouncier, the music makes it fun. So we all had a great time. Everybody that rode it had a great time.
That's good. I like the two guides so that people that don't want to ride still have somebody with them.
Yes, it worked out great.
Not that you necessarily need help shopping, but they could take you to a different ride if you wanted to or something.
Yeah, there were a few times, yeah, we had things like that. And it was, I think, honestly, one of the biggest benefits. And again, with a group of our size, it was so great because they would have one at the front and one at the back. And I think even knowing, like, if you'd had the max group size for one guide with 10, I think that could be challenging just because, everybody
Mhm.
walks at a different pace and there's crowds. And so it just made it really nice to kind of also know that I'm not like that there was somebody back there making sure that everybody's finding their way and made it just no stress for any of us.
Yep. Totally get it.
Yep.
What'd you do next?
So then we started to go to Web Slingers. We took a fun photo in there's an area right outside of Web Slingers where we'd learned about this on our Adventures by Disney trip. So they've got this spot on the ground where it's like this checkerboard pattern. And if you stand the right way in the photo, there's sort of an illusion. It looks like you're sinking into a hole. I think it's like a Doctor
Mhm.
Strange type thing. So we went over there and took a few photos. And then we got in line, or then we went to Web Slingers, and both of our guides, they were giving us tips on things to do. So I think, instead of doing the traditional Spider-Man way, they're like, it's easier on your arms to do like a karate chop,
Mhm.
or there are a couple of things like that. So, and then things to look for, which again, it's like I'm barely, you're trying to find everything, but that was super fun to kind of have some hints of things to be doing.
Mhm. And who won in your group? Do you know?
That's a great question. I'll have to go back. I think I won in my foursome, but again, I think I was the only one of the four that had ridden it. So, like, I think
Mm,
the first time it's like you're just trying to figure out what's going on. So,
exactly. It's quite a workout.
yes, but again, I was like, man, the karate chop. I was like, that's the way to go. I experimented a few different things. We'd also had someone before tell us to kind of like flick at it, but it's a work. Yeah, everybody's biceps were feeling it.
Mhm.
So,
Which is kind of embarrassing.
oh, I
It's
know.
like it's like how did this ride affect you like that? But it does sometimes.
Yeah, our guide was very sweet. She was like, Spider-Man has really strong arms and muscles, and our arms are not meant to do that motion for that
Mhm.
long. So it was very
Very
cute.
sweet.
Yes. Then next, we started heading towards the Cars area to do Radiator Springs. On the way, I suggested we do the Mater's Junkyard Jamboree just because, like that one, the music on it is so adorable, and listening to him speak in Spanish is great. And so that's a good, quick, easy, fun stop. So we did that one. And then I think everybody was ready for a water. It was already close to 2:30 by this point. And so there's a stand right across from Mater's that's got cold drinks and small snacks. And so the guides told us to just get whatever we wanted. So a water, Topo Chico, Coke, and they took care of that for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started heading off towards Radiator Springs and was super excited because that's probably my favorite ride at Disneyland. So we got to go on that one. And then we
And
had talked
it wasn't down.
no. I think that's what happened. We had started walking towards Radiator Springs and they got a text saying it was
Mhm.
down, but that it shouldn't be down too long. And so that's why we said, okay, let's just go ahead and stay in the area and do Maters. And then if it doesn't come back up by then, we'll move on. But it was up. And then we had talked about doing it again right then, but we were already starting to think through like timing for the rest of the day. And so we decided to end the night by coming back and riding it at the plan is to come back and ride it again at night.
You know what's interesting about that is sometimes they tell you on VIP tours you can't repeat rides, but in actuality, I think you can.
Well, I think in my mind too, it wasn't like I think there's a we we refer to as the VIP Plus tour that we looked at. Like there is one where they're taking you through the back entrance every time, and this one's you're going through the fast pass
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, lightning lane line. So you're still waiting. So yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't. They were our guides too. They're like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. They were they were fine. So
Yeah, why not?
yeah. So next we headed over to Toy Story Midway Mania, which is another one of my favorites. And that one too, I've ridden that ride a lot, and she gave us a lot of tips of things to go for that I had never heard. And some of them I was riding with my husband because we always like to compete on that game. But there were some where she was like, there'll be a plate that's tossed in the air, and if you each hit a plate simultaneously, it opens up things, and we couldn't get it to do it at the same time.
Wow, that sounds
But
like an Easter egg combo or something.
there were a lot that she told us. I mean, the other tip she gave us that I've never heard somebody tell us is to listen to what they're saying when you get to the ride. And so knowing what she had said, I was like, there definitely are some things that like on that one, I think it says watch for the flying plates. And so I would have not ever put that together because I don't play a ton of video games. But yeah, if you ever wonder how people are getting really high scores, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things that you can do to get extra points. I still
Mm-hmm.
didn't do that much better, but
Yeah, you need a VIP tour where you just do Toy Story Mania.
I would be okay with that actually. Although again, my arm might be,
Yeah, lots of
there at the end.
practice.
Yes.
That could be your next milestone birthday. Your goal is to hit X amount of points on Toy Story Mania.
I really like that idea. So this one, when we came off, it was awesome. Our guides were there waiting for us with churros. And man, that churro hit hard. It's like they had gotten them and they were warm and it was perfect. So, we have a photo that I'll send, but it's like these two guys standing there with 17 churros between the two of
Mhm.
them. It was awesome. So that
That
was a
was
really
nice of
sweet
them.
surprise. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was great. After that, we walked over to Soren, which is always a crowd pleaser. So got that one in, and then by that time it was already getting close to 4:30, so midway through our tour time, so we hopped over to Disneyland, which again takes, 10 minutes.
Mhm. It's very close. And you've
Yes.
gotten a a small list of things done on your previous day. So what were your priorities this day?
There's still some things, even though we had done it, like, so for example, Pirates, I still again, I'm like, I feel like every ride that they have at both parks is better at Disneyland. So I really
Mhm.
wanted make sure all my friends experienced the Disneyland versions. So we started out with, and also the rides that are unique to, at least right now, that are unique to Disneyland. So we started out with Indiana Jones, and it was up, which is always another one that always,
Mhm.
is iffy, but it was on, no problems. The girls that joined us, they had ridden that one earlier, and I think it had gone down right as they were about to get on, but someone told them, they're like, just wait, and so they didn't have to wait too long. But I always forget how many people those vehicles hold too, so that was fun because, I think it was 12 people in one vehicle.
Yeah, all of you.
Yes, almost. Yeah, almost
Well,
12.
almost. Yeah, you had
Yes.
17. 17 is more than 12.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we did that one and I feel like it was things were going fast. So then we went over to Pirates and, got splashed a little bit, which is always funny. It's like there's a little bit more of a splash zone on the Disneyland Pirates than Disney World. And then went to Haunted Mansion and which again, that's one I feel like Pirates and Haunted Mansion I could ride multiple times and I'm always happy to get on those.
Hmm. They're both so good.
Yes. Yes. And then by that point, too, we were getting close to 6 and trying to figure out dinner. And so we talked to the guides, and the next ride was going to be we were going to the Star Wars area for Rise of the Resistance. So they suggested quick serve from Ronto Roasters. And so they took care. We gave them a card. They mobile ordered for us wraps for everybody. But one of the guides had suggested, or he said the vegetarian version was really good. And so a few of us tried that one, and that's what I ended up getting and really liked it. But they placed that order with the plan of having it out by the time we got off of Rise. So headed over there, got on the ride. It was interesting too because I felt like this is one of those times where I'm like, the park didn't feel as crowded because I feel like usually when you go into that first part and you get on the ship, like the room feels packed. And we had our group and then was probably only one other family in there. So maybe 22 people. I don't know. It
Hmm.
felt more open than normal. But our guide was like telling her, they were like, let them off first, y'all hold back. And then they were able to get a picture of all of us in the stormtrooper room, like a big group shot, which was really, really fun.
Hmm.
That ride is always, I made sure I rode with some friends that had never ridden it because, again, that's my husband. Even if we get on it, like we want to sit in the back row. Like if we find out that other people
Hmm.
have not ridden it, we're like, you guys sit in the front. We just want to watch your reaction.
Exactly. Even the Stormtrooper room is really impressive if you've never seen it.
Yeah, it never failed. Like every time I walk in, I just like I'm in the movie. The other thing that was super exciting is, the room with the big blasters that they were
Hmm.
actually going back and forth. And I feel like
Hmm.
the last time I rode it at Disney World, or I feel like the last couple of times I've ridden it, it wasn't working. So I grabbed a quick video. I was like, oh, it's actually everything's
You're like,
going the
this
way
is
it's
what it's supposed to
supposed
look
to.
like. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
So yeah, that ride is always a hit. So we got out, guides were standing there with our food and they'd gotten double boxes so that we were at that point too, we were already wondering if we should add another hour to the tour because we had our list and you just even as with all the entrances that they can get for you, the time just goes so fast. So we're like, let's just walk and eat and see what we can get done. And they had already told us to at that point, they were like, it's going to be close enough. We had the reservations for World of Color, so they were like, extending an hour may not make sense because you really only get 30 minutes. But they were like, we're going to be close enough either way that we'll make sure we get you to Radiator Springs and get you in the line without, no problem.
Hmm.
So then we headed to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which again is always one everybody loves. So did that, had them get us on Peter Pan. That one was one where it was a true because there's no lightning lane, so it was
Hmm.
more of the back entrance. Again, I'm like, why? I love that ride, and that one's one where you're going to have to wait if you can't have some help.
Yeah, and
Um,
I was going to say the dark rides don't seem like they would be a good use of VIP tour, but they're actually the best use of VIP tour because they just let you right on.
yep,
So
yes,
it's
that one
very
was
fast.
was good.
Hmm.
And then we had time for Space Mountain before we needed to park hop again. I think this was, yeah, maybe our third trip across the Esplanade already for the day.
Hmm. That's why that layout works so well, the hub and spoke, because you can just keep crisscrossing.
It's so great. So yeah, we were out of Disneyland by 7:50, got to Radiator Springs. Our tour was wrapping up, so they said their goodbyes, got us. They had been taking all of our photos and getting all the ride photos, and so we airdropped the photos. And then they had gifted us a couple of lightning lanes, like which we were not at all expecting that we could use later that night. and they got us in line for Radiator Springs, which is awesome. But then, how as we talked about, Radiator Springs goes down pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in line, we were almost there, and it went down. And so, and we had that World of Color reservation that we needed to be checked in by 8:30, 8:40. But one thing I'd forgotten to mention too, they had sent me, I'd gotten a text from VIP services earlier in the day, and it was just this: if you have any issues or concerns, text us or call this number. So I called and I was like, hey, we got in line. We were hoping to ride it tonight, but we need to leave. Is there any way we can get a fast pass or a light? Sorry, I keep saying fast pass. Is there any way we can get a lightning lane for tomorrow? Because also California Adventure closes at 9, so we weren't going to get
Mm-hmm.
back. And they said, well, let us, go and they said, leave, go enjoy World of Color. We'll see what we can do. And then we got a call back a few minutes later, and they had called one of our guides, and she was able to tack it on, which was, again, we were fine either way. Like, not, just sometimes it's a good thing just to ask. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was super sweet. But yeah, they got us all a Radiator Springs Fast Pass for the next day.
Yes, that's nice. But I don't blame you for wanting to write it at night, especially with your friends that were just there for the day.
Yes. So again, gives them a reason to go back someday. So
Mm-hmm.
it was fine.
So you had to go from there to World of Color.
Yes. And so we left and we went and checked in. It was kind of across from the Little Mermaid ride. And we just knew it was a reserved area. We weren't sure what to expect, but they actually had seats, which was really nice. But at this point too, it was cold. I looked when I got back, and it had to have been in the low 50s. A couple of our friends were not really prepared, but we had had some extra jackets, and one of them just put on the poncho. He's like, it'll hold the heat in a little bit, which seemed to work, but
Mm-hmm.
so it was fine. But just a reminder that California can get chilly at night. And then we saw World of Color, and we had not seen this show. It's the Happiness Show. It was very cute, very Inside Out themed, but we love World of Color. It's always impressive.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many, they keep changing it.
Yeah.
So
I was,
you probably hadn't seen this version.
mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, we had been about a year and a half ago. And so in my mind, I was like, it hadn't been that long. So I was
Mm-hmm.
hadn't looked. I just thought it would be the same thing, but completely different show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of your night.
Well,
Maybe?
Disneyland was still open until 11. So
Okay. And you had some lightning lanes burning a hole in your pocket.
we did. So by that point, that show is long too. I think it was probably 9:30 by the time it ended. So we took off once again back across the Esplanade to Disneyland. And not everybody, first of all, we went to the Minnie and Mickey's Runaway Railroad, which we all love, but we had talked about it. We were talking about doing it on the VIP tour, but it's really out of the way because the way it's
Mm-hmm.
tucked back up there in Toonland. And so we didn't want to take the time on the tour, but that was was one of the perfect ways to use a lightning lane. So again, we had a lot of people that hadn't ever ridden that one. That one's always really cute and fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and then we wanted the girls or our younger friends to see the It's a Small World. We're like, I know you've ridden it before, but you've not ever seen this version. And so we ended up just going ahead and they wanted to be in line for something else by, 10:55 or whatever. And we're like, let's just use the lightning lane here. And that way you'll have time to run and get on whatever you want to end the night with, which was a good choice. Like, they were all like, I'm going back through our group shared albums, and there's so many photos from that ride where everybody was just really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing projections on It's a Small World, so we got to see some of those, and it was just really pretty for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And so by that point, most everybody was ready to end the night, but my husband and I and my friend Jenny were like, you know what? We could probably make it to Tiana's. None of us had ever ridden it. And we had poncho. Yeah, it was 49
Mm-hmm.
degrees.
Mm-hmm.
We had ponchos, and we're like, you know what? Let's just try. So we walked with purpose over to Tiana's, and we're like, we're idiots, but we're still going to try it. Put on our ponchos, think we were the last people on the ride. Still got wet, but it was glad we did it. Like it was a really fun way to end the night. We were still back in the hotel by 11:25, so it was fine.
Long day, got
Yes.
lots done.
Yes, I looked, I think I had close to 30,000 steps, which
And
was
that's with a
amazing.
VIP tour guide, that where you didn't have to
Yes.
crisscross as much.
The other thing though, we were kept talking about it. I was like, I did not feel nearly as I usually feel awful by about 22,000. I think though it was the weather, but also not standing. Like we weren't
Hmm.
just it felt like even in the lines, we were moving a little bit. So just
I think that's a great point because sometimes it's the standing that hurts worse than the steps.
yep.
Totally get that. And you weren't doing that.
No, no. And so I think I was shocked when I looked because I hadn't been looking throughout the day, but yeah, it was great. And then we had ordered some merchandise from the VIP tour, and so they had had it delivered to our rooms. So we walked in and everything was there, which was super easy. It was great.
Can you talk about this? Because I've never gotten merch on a VIP tour. So did you order it beforehand or how does that work?
No, so they had, which we didn't realize this until we were already on the tour, but if we had gone, so in the Grand Californian, there's a VIP tour desk, and she said they have a display, and so you can look. They had examples of all the items, but they had just told us beforehand to ask your guides. So one of the times when we were in line waiting, the guides could pull it up and they had all the options for what you could buy. So there were a lot of things. I was surprised by how much, but like a Loungefly bag,
Hmm.
cap, windbreaker, spirit jersey, coffee thermos, coffee drink, ears, a bear. Most of it is like black with the plaid. And so you would just tell them what you wanted. They had a QR code that we'd scan, and then they would go. And this other thing that was good, they're like, if you get something and you aren't happy with the size, you can just go to the VIP desk at the Grand. Or she's like, if you get it and you don't like it, you can return it, which was really put my mind at ease with ordering a couple of
Hmm.
the like clothing items. And then they put it in a little cart and you can check out through the app, but it's like you just needed their QR code. Super easy. But then they're like, what's your room number? And they said it'll be there when you get back. And sure enough, it was there. So
Nice. Love that. I wonder how that works if you aren't staying there.
I don't know. I think you could probably either pick it up at one of their offices or they're at the Grand Californian.
Hmm.
But yeah, because they had an office. I think they definitely have offices in both parks. So I think you'd probably pick it up there.
Okay.
But or I think the other thing is they could have somebody run it to them and that they would give it to you and you'd walk out with it.
Hmm.
So
That's fun.
yeah.
Okay. So that was the end of a long park day. And you had
Yep.
Saturday, January 10th, which you told us was going to be open pretty much until your very special dinner.
Yes. So several of us decided to go ahead and go into the parks, but not get up super early. So we slept until about 8. And then let's see, 8 of us met in the lobby at about 9:30. And then the other two couples decided they were going to sleep in and go to breakfast. And then we later found out and it was fun because it was two couples that didn't know each other beforehand and they had run into each other at the restaurant and had breakfast together and both separately told me how much they enjoyed that time, which was,
That's so nice.
it worked. It was great. And it was
Hmm.
people that I was like, oh, I really hope they connect because I really think they will be friends. So
Hmm.
it was
Check that off the
exciting.
list. You did it. You did it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So the 8 of us, we walked through. My husband and I had mobile ordered Jamba Juice. So we went and picked that up. And we were through the gates at Disneyland by 10 a.m. I still feel like we started off, we're like, let's hit some things we didn't do the day before. So we did Dumbo. Funnily, it was a 10-minute posted wait. It ended up being actually 25 minutes. So I think that was our longest wait of the trip was
Was
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
But, it's a classic.
You forgot to include that one on your VIP tour.
I know. If I'd only known. And then we did the Storybook Canals, which I adore that ride, and we hadn't gotten to do that the day before, so it really was a 10-minute wait, which was great. And let's see, we wanted to use our lightning lane for Radiator Springs because we knew we were all planning on leaving the park by early afternoon and knew we wouldn't be back to California Adventure if we didn't go before lunch or around that time. So we grabbed a Dole Whip on our way out to California Adventure. And then our friends, the other four friends that hadn't, they met us at California Adventure. We noticed that we were going to order a quick serve. We noticed a lot of the places, the windows were already 30 or 45 minutes out. So we placed a quick serve order, and then we used our lightning lane for Radiator Springs. So even though we didn't get to ride it at night, we still got to ride it again before we left.
Good.
Yeah. And then we went and picked up our lunch. We went to that area. I think it's that San Francisco area. And so people had ordered things from a few different places, but we were able to get a big enough table for everybody. And so everybody would just go get their food, and we sat and just took it easy. We still had the lightning lane because Disneyland has gone away from the early entry. And so then now they give you a lightning lane to use for the duration of your trip. And we still had that one. So we used that one to ride Toy Story Midway Mania one more time.
It kills me that it's one. One. Not one per day.
No.
One.
I know. And we think about how much you can get done in that early entry. We took what they gave us.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband wanted to ride the Little Mermaid ride before we left. So all of us, and I think one of the things he likes about that one is just even the parts where you can, like, where you go around and you can see everybody, which is just fun. One of my friends, one of my friends from Dallas, she had lived in Los Angeles for a while, and they had passes, and she was like, I actually was traumatized by this ride because I got stuck in it one time, and I've heard Kiss the Girl like more than I'm good for the rest of my life. But she still got on it with us. Did not get stuck. And then that was it. We were off by 1:45, and everybody headed back to the hotel. Or I think some people did some shopping, but we're like, take a nap, take a shower, and get ready for our big dinner.
Yes, big dinner lasts a while, so you got to be ready for this experience. So, at what time did you head back over to Disneyland then?
So they actually met us at the hotel. They were going to pick us up at 5, so we all met down. I think we told everybody to be down at 4:55, and at 5 o'clock on the dot, David, who I think his title is 21 Royal Butler, but I just think of him as the host for the evening, he walked up and was like, "This must be my group for Amy's birthday," and he kind of told us what to expect. He's like, we have a bus. We're going to take you. We just kind of gave us a little bit of a rundown, but he's like, I will be your guide for the evening. He took a group photo of us at the hotel, and then we walked out, and they had, I would say it was a small bus, but it has a 21 Royal sign, like logo on the bus. And the driver was there, and he set up a table, and he was also security. So he went through and checked our bags before we got on the bus, because we had been wondering how that was going to work. So it was super nice that they just did it right there.
Can I ask a dumb question? Do you have to have park tickets to eat at 21 Royal?
So when you reserve 21 Royal, they include park tickets for the day for everybody. Okay. So it's part of the package. So that was so we had only had to separately purchase one day of park tickets. And that was the other thing, we were telling people, because it's like, you're going to have 2 tickets. You have to use, my friend Sarah handled a lot of the logistics for me, and she is great at communicating and sending out emails. And so it was like, she would send email, she sent a text the day before, a text that morning, like, use this ticket. So it all worked out great. So, but yes, they include our park tickets.
Okay.
So we got on the bus, and this was one of the coolest parts. So we drove in backstage, and we stayed on the bus the whole time, but he gave us sort of a mini tour. So he would say, this building is the back, or he'd be like, what do you think this building is? So, it's cool to kind of, get a peek behind, and it's like that there's a big 5-story building back there, but to see it was cool. There was one warehouse type building that a door was open, and he's like, okay, look back there. And on the back wall, they had the original Hollywood Tower Hotel Hollywood sign. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, we don't throw anything away, so it's all somewhere. And so that one was just there for the employees to enjoy. And then even though we didn't get to see Paint the Night, one of the other ones was open and we could see the floats back there. So I was like, gotta go back and see it. But it was just, I was like, we got a little glimpse.
Coming soon.
Yes. And then he had some funny stories. I guess too, he was talking about like Rise, the big at machines. He's like, they had to lower those in by a crane and then they built the roof of it. So it's like just little things like that that you wouldn't know. And then they had a whole area. It looked like, he called it, he's like, there's our Home Depot garden center. And it was just rows and rows of plants that they use for landscaping. So they have their own their whole area back there, which was super cool.
And this is stuff he's pointing out as you're driving.
Yeah, they were driving real like slowly and kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really funny too. It's like there were all these bikes, and I was like, well, what are all those bikes for? And he's like, oh, those are Walt's bikes that he used to ride around. And I was like, they're just out there. And he's like, they aren't really Walt's. They're just like
You
great.
could say everything's Walt.
Right. So yeah, I felt like, and again, of course, no photos, video, that part, they're like, we'll tell you when you're on stage and you can start taking pictures again, but just super cool to see it. And then they parked kind of over by the building that would be Pirates, and we walked up, and so we went in, it was by where the railroad station is for New Orleans Square.
Mm-hmm.
So we came in a back door, like walked across the train tracks, and then you're right, walked across the way, which was also funny. I mean, it was weird, it's like you're walking out and everybody's like, what are those people doing?
It's Dapper Days and your party, and everybody else is in their park gear.
Yes, which is also super fun. So they took us over to where the 21 Royal area is. There's a sign. If you know to look for it, it's very obvious. There's like a staircase. So he took some photos of us on the stairs and then walked us up into the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And started introducing us to the rest of the team. And it really started with kind of the story of the apartment and how, have you been in Walt's apartment? You've been in Walt's apartment. So you see, it's very small. And so he said that Walt and Lily, his wife, they had decided they wanted more of a space that they could actually entertain guests. And so that was the idea for this apartment. And so it's a 2-bedroom, 3-bath apartment, but they'd wanted to have it to host people and they never got to complete it. And so they see their role as they want the experience to be like what you would have experienced if you had been a guest of the Disneys, which was super cool. He told us about, I guess he had been there, I guess Dick Van Dyke has stayed there a couple of years ago, like stayed there for a few nights. And so he had some some fun stories about him getting to stay there. And I guess a fire alarm going off when in the middle of the night, and Dick Van Dyke walking around the park in slippers and a robe, and like just seems so appropriate.
I need to know he was singing like Chim Chimney, Chim.
Yes. And then, like any Disney thing, there's some magic. I mean, if anybody doesn't want to get spoiled, I'd suggest taking a break right now. I won't go into too much detail, but there are buttons you can push and, things move, or there's music that plays, or lights dim. Oh, there's a railroad train that goes around a room. But the coolest thing, though, they were like, you're our guest here, so touch anything. They're like, there's nothing that is off limits, which is just wild and generous and really fun.
And I haven't been to 21 Royal. What is the capacity? Like, are you guys a large part of the people that are there, or no?
We're the only so we're the only people in there. The dining room, and I'll send you photos of the dinner. The dining room is set up where it's a square table and there's room for 12 guests. So that's kind of how we ended up with 12 people is that that's your maximum number. So you're free. Like there's a cocktail, like the first 30 minutes was just cocktail time. So we were free to roam wherever. And then, yeah, so we had free reign of the apartment. They're like, use the bath, like that's the bathrooms you'll use,
Mm-hmm.
which is very
That's so
interesting.
nuts. That's so nuts because when you do a tour, you can't really do much of anything.
Exactly. There was a balcony you could go out and you could kind of see like you're over the line, over the area for pirates, and you could see the treehouse. And what else did we see? There's a courtyard in it, and it's like an actual courtyard that's open, and they had a bar set up out there. And so one of the team members was making cocktails. So they had one that was bourbon based and one that was gin based for everybody to enjoy. The other thing they tell you in the letter, they're like, basically your party does not to have need to have any cocktails before the experience. So just so we were prepared and need to pace ourselves.
They said don't pregame because we got you.
Yes. And they also had asked ahead of time, and they asked multiple times if anybody wanted non-alcoholic versions. So they had pairings. They could make mocktails or any kind of pairing for anybody who didn't want to partake.
Mm-hmm.
But so there were a team of 5 plus the chefs, which was super cool too, is like you could just tell that they all enjoy working together. Like it just all felt very seamless as far as they were doing some past hors d'oeuvres and just they wanted to get to know, like they were really fun to very chatty and happy to be there. So I guess we were
Mm-hmm.
their first dinner since the holidays. Um,
Really?
yeah, which surprised me. Yes. The other thing too we figured out throughout the night is that they typically have groups of people that work together or corporate events. And so I don't think they really realized they knew it was my birthday, but I don't think they really realized until midway through that we were friends. Like it was not a business dinner. so so that was fun too.
I want to. Can you imagine working somewhere where that's your business dinner? That's fun.
Oh my gosh. I know.
So much better than
Right.
like the local Marriott or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna go we're gonna go to 21 Royal.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome.
Yeah. So we had about 30 minutes and then they called us in for dinner, I would guess at like, I think it was about 6 p.m. And so that's when the chefs came in and the chefs would come in before every course and explain what they were making. So it's the same chefs that do Club 33, but it's a unique menu. And so this feels like the place where they play and have fun. Like they're like, we're going and seeing what's in season and we're going and seeing what looks good at the market or we've been to this producer and we're ordering their product. And same thing with the sommelier, like she would explain how she paired each course. And like there was one wine she was like, I was able to order 18 bottles, so y'all are having 2 of the bottles that I got from this producer, which is just, so I think, you and I talked about at the beginning, it's like, are the people who aren't familiar with Disneyland gonna get it? And it's like you get it as soon as David
Mm-hmm.
shows up. It's like it just it's like we've been to some nice places and I've just never had, I'm gonna tear up talk, like I've just never had an experience like that. And also where I just felt like everybody like like they love what they're doing and they want
Mm-hmm.
you to love it and they want you to experience it with them. So it was just really sweet.
Yeah. And when you have an experience like this, it's not cheap, but you're paying for more than just the food. Like it's a whole
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, so we started dinner. I can send you a photo of the menu because I was really glad because at the end they gave us, so you walk in and there's no menus. They had asked us ahead of time to do sort of a seating chart. So you walk in and everybody's got like a name, their name printed out in front of them.
I love that you had a seating chart like a wedding reception.
Yes, but better because it's like we're all at the same table. So, there wasn't that anxiety because it's like we could still easily all talk
S-
and
Okay, so I have a question though. Are you a person that keeps couples together or splits them up?
I keep them together. But
Mhm.
it was interesting because we had, including Robert and we had 5 couples and then 2 women. But I don't know, I just kind of knew, like a lot of people did know each other, and it's like, okay, I didn't necessarily go man, woman, but I was like, okay, I'm going to put these two men together and these side by side, but next to their wife. But
Mhm.
it, it's interesting. It just really, the whole thing, like, again, I like my dream was for everybody to have fun together. And that was one of the comments I kept getting from all my friends was like, let me put that. So one of my friends is a friend from when I lived in Dallas. So we've known each other since we were like 24, 25, and have only seen each other a couple of times in the last 10 years, but would communicate. And so he was like, his son said, who are these people that you're going on this trip with? And why did they invite you? And how do you know them? And so, he was going through and explaining it. So the next day, the wife was like, she said they talked to him and he's like, how are the people? And she's like, everybody is so great. Like everybody's so nice. We're all having so much fun together. So it all worked out great. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, so we started our multi-course meal. There was a wine pairing. Oh, they also had given us So when we walked in, we had champagne and then a cocktail, and then there was wine with each course. I think I was being really cautious at the beginning, just not knowing how many courses. The thing is, I thought that the serving sizes were really good. Like going back, I think I would have been okay, but I mean, she would open maybe two bottles for a party of 12 and not like they were not filling up your glass, which was
Mhm.
great. But, she would explain why she picked it. They would tell us what was in it. Yeah, let's see, we had a sole, Dover sole, a mushroom course, a small pasta, a stew, which was really good. It was like a turkey. It sounds crazy. They called it home for the holidays, like a turkey stew. The main course was a Wagyu beef and then a dessert. But we had and I think, yeah, we had it there was a little bit of a break time in that where they had us kind of stand up and walk around for about 15 minutes. But the dinner finished up around 8:50, which was in time for Fantasmic.
Okay. And you were able to view it from there?
Yeah, so Fantasmic is out on the water. Pirates is right behind it, and there's a balcony that's right over Pirates. And so you're like facing it head on. So you can, yeah, it was the speakers are right there. So yeah, we could stand out. And then they had, shawls for the women if you were chilly, like they were coming out with, like, I feel like they even would match our dresses. Like, I don't know what their shawl closet looks like. It was-
That is next level to have matching shawls.
well, I was like, because they gave me a black one, so I assumed they're all black. But then my friend who was wearing a red dress, I was like, they gave her a red shawl. So it was,
You guys should have adjusted a rainbow of colors and just see what happens.
if I'd only known.
Next time.
Next time. Right. So that was great. So we enjoyed the show from there. And again, the whole time too, we were just, we could chat with them and ask questions and learn about their jobs. But then they brought us back in at 9:30, and they had a little bit of, and they'd asked us too. It's like, do you want coffee, espresso, tea? We've got decaf, whatever to have with dessert. And then we came back in, and they had put a little gift bag at each of our seats, and then a small dessert that was like basically 3 taste of things. And they said, if you want to eat it or you can take it. But he wanted us to go through our bags. And so they had given us a pin, a 21 Royal pin, which was, it was a surprise to us that we were going to get this. So this was super cool. And then they'd given us things for breakfast the next day. So like this fresh muffin and coffee beans and tea. And then they gave us printed copies of the menus and then a little print of New Orleans Square, which we're going to frame and for the memory. So that was a nice surprise. And then as it was wrapping up, he's like, I know you're going back into the parks. Like we had brought big bags of everybody's tennis shoes. And he's like, would y'all like to ride Pirates? And I was like, we would love to ride Pirates. So we got into our sneakers and he took us back down we said our goodbyes. He took us through the back way and got us onto Pirates. So we have a fun picture of all of us in our fancy clothes on the boat.
So the dinner part of it, I'm trying to get the timing straight. So
Sure.
you finished dinner at 8:50 in time to watch Fantasmic, and then after Fantasmic was the gift bag and dessert.
Yeah, so Fantasmic ended. So there was Fantasmic, and then I don't know, like he was like, just wait about 8 minutes. There was another, he said there's another show. I think I need to go back and verify this. I think it's something, it was projections that coordinate with the projections on the castle. And so it was kind of windy, so they did some little fireworks, but not the normal big show. But
Mhm.
so it was probably 9:40 when we went back in and saw the gift bags, and then it took 10 minutes for us to, oh, they took one more final group shot in the
Mhm.
parlor for us. But yeah, it was about 10 whenever we were actually walking out of 21 Royal. So
Okay. And you headed
yeah,
to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates. Yes, so we went to Pirates, rode that, and then when we had ridden Storybook Canal earlier in the day, I'd said, I'm like, man, I bet this is so cute at night. And so we went over to Storybook Canal and they managed to get all 12 of us onto one of those boats. It was tight, but it was fun. But even that, one of my friends was like, I think this might be my favorite ride. So it was so cute. And then it was like, we got off and it was probably 10:59. And when somebody said, do you think we could make it to Dumbo? We were like, let's try. And we got up that, like, we walked up and she was putting the gate closed. And one of my friends was like, it's my friend's birthday. Can we get on? And she's like, how many of you are there? And we said 12. And she looked and she's like, I have 12 seats. I've got 6 Dumbos available. And so she let us in, like there were already people in line. So we ended the night we redeemed our 25-minute wait. So,
Mhm. You ended the ride. Do you remember, did you go to Disneyland years ago when Dumbo was the thing that everyone rope dropped?
no.
Yes, that's how it used to be. Disneyland and Disney World, everyone would run to
Mhm.
Dumbo, which seems so
Yeah.
funny now. But you ended
Yeah.
your trip on Dumbo.
Yeah, and it was so fun at night too. You forget like how it's like you could see, you can see the Matterhorn all lit up and you could see the
Mhm.
lights from Small World, and it's just people were starting to leave, so it was already starting to get that, that area, the Fantasyland's not as busy at the end of the day. So it was just a really sweet way to end a special night.
Yes. What a fantastic idea. Like a perfect group to go and do this like special meal.
Yeah. It really worked. It could not have worked out. The other thing too, we didn't think about, but somebody asked, we were sharing stories. My husband had asked people to share kind of a toast, not a big deal, but just share a memory or something like that throughout the meal. So, and I had also had, since we did have people from different groups, a couple of days beforehand, I had gone through and made sort of a bio for each person. Or, I mean, sometimes it was the couple because my memories with them are the same, but I'd written something up and put a picture of them now and then found some pictures. Like, especially, like one of my friends is a friend from college. So, I've got pictures from 1997 and then us on a trip in 2005. It's just
Mhm.
like that was actually really fun, was going through. But so each kind of person, everybody had some context for why they were invited. But so one of my friends asked at dinner, he's like, so did everybody you asked say yes? And we said, yeah, you guys were all our first choices. And it's like, it hadn't even occurred to me to tell them, like, you weren't second or third, like you were like everybody that we invited was able to come. So it was just really special.
That is
And
so nice.
yeah, the other thing I said, and this is when I think they got it, it was kind of, I think they brought out a candle with my dessert, and everybody, the staff was in there too. And I felt like I needed to say something. And so, I said, I feel like there's only a couple of times in your life when the people you love from different seasons get together, and it's your wedding and your funeral. And
Mhm.
to have an event where you could bring those people together and be there to enjoy it was just priceless. So,
Yeah, and I don't think you should have to get married or die to have these
agreed.
happy moments. What a fun time. I love that
I
you
know.
took the time to do it and that so many people were able to go.
Yeah, I think the time of year worked out well too. I think my birthday's actually in September, and my husband, we'd started talking maybe a month beforehand about what to do, and had thrown out this idea came up. And of course, when we looked, it was way too, like everything was booked out for the rest of the year. And so we thought, let's just take with the first date in January. But it worked out so well because everybody's got kids in school, and it's like the activities hadn't started back up again. So it was just sort of this like get the kids back in school and then head out of town. So it worked out great.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Disneyland is that it's really like a long weekend, so it feels like not as much of a commitment. But
Exactly.
you've managed to fit a lot in.
Yes.
But the trip wasn't quite over yet because you had Sunday, January 11th, which was your departure day, but also you had a character meal.
Yes. So one of my friends had to go ahead and leave early. She had an early flight back, but 11 of us were able to go to over to the Disneyland Hotel to have breakfast at Goofy's Kitchen. One of my friends was leaving from there, so we drug her suitcase with us, and it's a really short walk. It's probably 8 to 10 minutes from the Grand Californian to Disneyland Hotel. And so we had our buffet breakfast and got to see the characters. We had Minnie and Goofy and Chip and Dale. It's it's the breakfast is really funny to me because they've got like the make your they'll prepare an omelet for you, but they also have a chicken and waffle pizza and a peanut butter and jelly pizza and chicken
Mhm.
fingers and desserts. So but you could have a salad and your omelet. It was great. It's just
Mhm.
very cute and very fun. And it was a great way for everybody to get together one last time and say goodbye rather than having to have said goodbyes the night before.
Mhm. Cute way to end. And then you headed to the airport soon?
Yeah, we went back and pretty much all of us that were flying home to San Antonio, we had a 1 p.m. flight, but we didn't want to we left the hotel probably around, I think we met at 10:30 and we'd ordered two Ubers to come for our party of eight. And then everybody just took their own Ubers to the hotel as they needed. So, but no issues. We had a direct flight. We were going to LAX, so we'd want to leave earlier, but there was not very much traffic on a Sunday morning. So no issues. Got back home and exhausted and some of us were losing our voices, but it was great. It was a really fantastic way to celebrate.
It is. I love that. Well, so overall thoughts about taking a VIP tour at Disneyland worth the money?
For us, it definitely was. I think, the idea of trying to manage lightning lanes and those things for a party that size felt next to impossible. I think even like I was saying, just like, as you're walking from ride to ride, when you have that many people and you've got crowds, like it's hard to stick together. And it was just nice to have, like, I didn't have to worry if somebody's behind, like that there's a guide there helping them and we'll meet up together. I think one of our fears always in doing a tour has been that it would spoil us. So, it was nice. I think that I also don't it was definitely worth it for this trip.
What about I can't remember if you have you stayed at the Grand Californian before?
Yes, we've stayed there before. We
Was that where you stayed on your Adventures by Disney trip?
Yes,
Okay. So do you like staying at Grand Californian, I guess?
we love staying at the Grand Californian. This was actually our fourth time to stay there. We have done one other trip and we stayed at the Westin, which is across the street.
Mhm.
And it is a great option. It's a gorgeous hotel. You're very close. I think we made the mistake of staying at the Grand Californian first because even that walk back at night, it's a 20-25 minute walk back
Mhm.
versus 5 minutes.
Mhm.
But I think too, we love the style of the hotel. Yeah, we just had a really good I wouldn't say it's a necessity, but the other thing we like is that it's different from if you're going to Disney World and you're staying at a deluxe hotel, you're putting yourself in for many nights and you can easily do Disneyland in 2 or 3 days. So staying there for 2 or 3 nights is a lot more manageable than staying at Disney
Mhm.
World, some equivalent for 5 or 6 nights.
Mhm. That's a great point. With that high price tag, it's easier to afford when it's only times two. So,
And we also ended up getting a discount on this trip. Like we booked them, and then I can't remember. I want to say it was 30%. It was a significant offer came out, and we were able to get that applied to all of our rooms. And so it felt, it worked out really well for us.
and then traveling this time of year, it sounds like it was based on when you could get into 21 Royal, but worked out.
It was great. Like I said, we were really surprised that all the decorations were still up, which we enjoyed. I think from talking to the guides and the people at the hotel, it was unusual. And it seemed like maybe all the rain that they had had the week prior had sort of delayed the schedule of taking everything down. But just even as far as crowds, I mean, again, I didn't do a great job of looking at actual wait times, but it felt very manageable. The weather, it gets chilly at night, but in the mornings, but again, it's easy to manage. You just need a jacket. You're good. I love traveling at this time of year.
And then the last thing, I think I already know the answer, is 21 Royal.
100% worth it. Yeah, it was, like I said, this has been a bucket list thing for us for years, but it would not have been worth it if we hadn't been able to celebrate with the people that we did. So I think just being able to share that whole experience, and I think to everybody it felt really special. Like it just feels like a special experience. So, we would rather have memories than things. So it was worth it for us for this situation.
Well, I'm glad it went so well. What an epic way to celebrate your birthday.
Yeah. Yes.
And
it was very special. Yes.
It's fun. Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time to share, Amy. This has been fantastic.
Thanks, Shannon.
I hope you enjoyed my conversations with Amy. I just loved this trip report so much, so much fun. Imagine knowing that many people that will travel for your birthday. I can't imagine it. How awesome for her. We did keep talking on an after chat for Patreon. I wanted to ask her about her Adventures by Disney that she did in Southern California. She also just days before Christmas went to Epic Universe, and so we talked about that. But also she has some upcoming trips that are really fun, and we talked about that as well. So you can see that on Patreon now in video and audio form. I think that'll wrap up this episode of WDW Prep to Go. For more information, you can check the description or head to the website, WDWPrepSchool.com. Click on podcast at the top, scroll on to episode 497. Until next time, I'll see you on the site.